Good morning, everyone. For today's reporter, I am Marian Nyere for reporter of Bunsen Burner. The, our, our report is about the use of Bunsen Burner. We are the group for next na dahil. Bunsen Burner. The Bunsen burner is extremely convenient source of heat for the chemical laboratory. It was designed by Robert Bunsen more than 100 years ago when he was a researcher at the University of Heidelberg in Germany. He needed a flame that was steady, clean, and hot, and these are all things that ordinary yellow flames are not. Ordinary flames are sooty and burn at low temperatures, not to mention how much they flicker, but Bunsen burner burns blue and very hot because it is designed to completely combust the gas without producing soot. It can do this because it mixes the gaseous fuel with air before it starts to burn. The burner you will use may have two valves. One of the controls the amount of fuel delivered to the barrel and the other controls the amount of air. If you have a different type of burner, then there is only one controller built into the barrel. The sliding perforated sleeve controls the amount of air that the fuel mixes with. Create a schematic diagram of the procedure. The explanation of this picture is number one, dito na part sa first na picture is check connections to burn and dust out valves. Sa second, close needle valve and collar. Sa katatlo na picture is open dust outlet valve fully. Sa ikaapat, open needle valve 1/2 turn. Number 5, use the spark lighter to light the flame. Number 5 is adjust collar and needle valve till you see the blue flame. The unguided questions sa experiment is number 1, what do I have to do make sure that I am well protected in this lab? To make sure that you are protected inside the laboratory, you need to wear protective gear equipment such as goggles, hairnet, gloves, and lab coat. Wearing clothing and shoes that cover exposed skin and protect you from potential splashes. Tie back long hair, jewelry, or anything that may catch in equipment. Never eat food, drink, beverage, chew gum, apply cosmetics, or handle contact lenses in the laboratory. Number 2, you may have noticed that there are two valves on the Bunsen burner. In the first experiment, you saw the effect the air intake valve had on the boiling rate of water. What would happen to the boiling rate of water if you were to adjust the gas intake valve instead? If I will adjust the valve backwards, this will lessen the amount or intake of air. Thus, the fire will also lessen and the rate of the boiling water will also decrease. Number 3, what would happen to a lit burner if all the air in the room was sucked out? The flame wouldn't be there because for the flame to burn or stay, a few things are required, and one of them is oxygen. As all the air was sucked out, then there is no oxygen, hence no flame. B, the main gas valve turned off. If the main source of gas valve turned off, then the fire in the Bunsen will vanish since there is no more source of gas for the burner to lit again. C. The amount of air in the room doubled. With too much air in the room, the flame may burn inside the burner tube it may strike back as a Bunsen burner have Netflix greens to increase the turbulence of the mixture to keep the flame at the top of the tube.
Good morning, everyone. I am Monica Epicino and will report about PostLab output. The objectives is to learn how to light and maintain a hot, blue, and noisy flame. B. Learn the difference between a luminescent flame and one in which soot and light is reduced to a minimum in order to maximize heat. C. Learn how to safely use the Bunsen burner. Materials: water, 500 ml beaker, 2 test tubes, Bunsen burner, tripod, iron stand and gauze, timer, and test tube rack. Procedure: open the air valve accordingly. 2. Light the Bunsen burner. 3. Place filled beaker on stand and begin timing. 4. As soon as you see when the water starts to boil, stop your timer and record your result. 5. Wait for water to cool off and empty. Fill with new water. 6. Repeat 1 to 5 for the remaining turns. May ipa-play po kami na video.
May sound yan? Wala. Ganyan talaga. Play sound.
Meron po yan ata sound nung ginaayos pa po.
Okay. Sa view options, hanapin nyo yung share sound tapos i-play nyo siya ulit.
The Bunsen burner is a great way of heating up substances in a controlled way, but it must be used with care. A handy way of remembering how to light a Bunsen burner safely is set a light. Let's see what this means. S is for safety, which always comes first. Make sure you're wearing a lab coat and safety glasses. Tie back long hair and clear your bench of anything that's flammable, meaning that it could catch on fire. E is for edge. Place the burner on a heat-proof mat a safe distance from the edge of the bench. T is for tube. Check that the rubber tube is free of cracks. Connect the tube firmly to the gas tap. Make sure the tap is in the off position. Remember, the off position makes an L shape. A is for air hole. The air hole is located at the bottom of the barrel, near the base. It can be opened or closed by turning a metal ring called the collar. This controls the amount of air and oxygen that mixes with the gas. The more oxygen, the hotter the flame. Always make sure that the air hole is closed before lighting the burner. Okay, you're ready to light the match and hold it above the barrel. Finally, you can turn on the gas. It's important to light the match first to avoid releasing dangerous gas into the air. You should always follow these 6 steps when lighting a Bunsen burner. Now you've successfully lit the Bunsen burner, you should begin with a bright yellow flame. This is called the safety flame because it's easy to see and isn't as hot as the full flame. To get a hotter flame, we need to mix in more air. To do this, turn the collar to open the air hole. You will now have a blue flame with a bright blue inner core. The hottest part of the blue flame is here, at the tip of the cone. There are 3 more safety rules for using the Bunsen burner while it's lit. If you need to move the burner, hold it by the base. Don't touch it any higher than the collar. Never leave a lit Bunsen burner unattended. And if anything goes wrong, turn off the gas tap immediately. Okay, so you've finished your experiment. Before turning off the Bunsen burner, close the air hole first to return to the safety flame. Now you can turn off the tap and blow out any small flame that remains. Disconnect the hose and leave the Bunsen burner to cool before packing it away.
Data and results. Effects of air supply on boiling rate. So effect of flame on flame of a fully closed valve. The effect on flames, no flame. In a 1/4 open, a very small yellow flame. And a 1/2 open, small blue flame produces non-luminous flame and hotter. And a 3/4 open, the flame is stable, produces non-luminous flame, medium blue flame, and hotter. In a open fully, the effect on flame is the huge blue and green flame with high intensity and very hot. So, wala pong boiling point. There will be no boiling point since there was no lab activity being done. From your observations, what can you determine what the relationship is between air intake and the time it takes to boil the water? Increasing the air intake makes it much easier for the water to boil because the heat from the burner is very high. Part 2. Specific objective. Observe the chemical changes that will happen after the egg and chocolate is heated up. Sample is chocolate and egg white. On boiling water, the chocolate is melted. After cooling, the chocolate is solidified and it has physical change and reversible. The egg white on boiling water is cooked and after cooling, solidified po and cooked pa rin. Because it has chemical change and irreversible. Tapos na po.
Is that the end of the report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what are the contribution of Miss Guanzon, Miss Romualdo, and Miss Maralit for this? Since I cannot give them grade, I did not hear them speaking.
Excuse po,
Yung
ma'am.
answers po nag-present, ma'am.
Excuse po, ma'am. PPT, ma'am.
Sa?
May kulang pa po yung sa what would happen to a lit Bunsen burner. Dagdagan ko na lang po, ma'am.
Okay. I cannot give you grades if kayo narinig magsalita dito. Since di ba, during the start of the class when I told you that we will have reporting, I need to hear everybody Kasi this one is oral presentation and the grading is for the oral presentation mismo. Okay? Sige, Miss Gwanzon, you want to add something?
May kulang po, ma'am, yung sa what would happen to a lit Bunsen burner, yung number 3 po sa PostLab po. At sa dagdag ko na lang po.
Okay.
Okay, so if all the air in the room was sucked out, the flame produced by the Bunsen burner will probably vanish because wait lang po. Nadagdag. Wait lang po. Will probably vanish because combustion cannot occur without the presence of oxygen. The main gas valve turned off. There will be no gas supply, which probably means that the lit Bunsen burner will also stop operating or stop producing flame. If the amount of air in the room is doubled, the Bunsen burner will have a more complete combustion and will produce a hotter flame. It will also result to a noisy blue-colored flame, which denote that it is at the highest possible temperature, and they call it as the roaring flame. Yun lang po, ma'am.
Okay. See. How about the others? Wala na idagdag?
Conclusion
Excuse me po, ma'am. Mag-conclusion po ako. After finishing this activity, we all have learned that it is very important to make sure that we are protected inside the laboratory. We need to wear protective gear equipment such as goggles, hairnet, gloves, and lab coat. Wear clothing and shoes that cover our exposed skin and protect us from potential splashes. Tie back our long hair, hide or remove our jewelries or anything that may catch in equipment. Never eat food, drink beverages, chew a gum, apply cosmetics including a lip balm, or handle contact lenses inside the laboratory too. We also learned how to properly use and operate the Bunsen burner and what precautions we should be doing if handling flammable, hot, and splashing liquids inside the laboratory when handling the Bunsen burner. That would be all po.
Si ano na lang, Lauren. You want to add?
Sa conclusion na lang po din, ma'am.
Okay, sige, go.
So in this activity, we have learned a lot of things about the Bunsen burner on how to set it up properly, how to light it, and how to turn it off. Its usage and function as well, and the difference of the gas valve and air valve, its purpose, and how it can affect the boiling rate of a substance being heated. The difference of flames as well, and the physical change and chemical change. And I think that this activity will help us, not just me, but everyone someday on doing laboratory activities or on experiments ourselves po.
Thank you. Para kompleto lang yung record ko here. Can I control the screen, Lauren? Wait. Share the video later. Chem101. Just look for it. May hinahanap lang ako. Okay na. And I can control the screen now. Hindi siya move. Okay. Sige, ako na mag-control siguro. Ayan, so this activity is about the Bunsen burner. This is experiment number 1 because supposedly we are going to conduct this one inside the laboratory. But since our situation now does not permit us to do an actual experiment, let us discuss na lang important things about the Bunsen burner. So the Bunsen burner is a very important laboratory apparatus class since we have a lot of boilings and heatings na ginagawa inside the lab, and our one source of syempre the flame is the Bunsen burner. Though nowadays we have the hot plate already, we also have the alcohol lamp, but nevertheless, ginagamit pa rin naman si Bunsen burner for this, for heating and boiling. So we have a lot of chemicals na binoboil or hinihit sa lab. The first thing that you need to know is how to manipulate the Bunsen burner, how to turn it off or how to turn it on. So number 1 here, sorry. Okay, the number 1, is this the first step? Dili na lang ko mag remote control palihog na lang kung Lorraine kay di siya mo move. Pwede pa balik sa first slide. Is this the first slide? Ano ni siya? So do not forget it was discovered by Robert Bunsen when he needed a flame kasi kailangan niya din ng stable flame para sa heating and boiling niya na experiment. So that's the reason why na-create si Bunsen burner. So doon na lang pala tayo sa Lorraine, kasi ito na pala yung almost the first slide, no? Doon tayo sa procedure and how to manipulate this one, the schematic diagram. The first thing that you need to do is to set up the Bunsen burner. And how do we set it up? We have to connect the rubber tubing doon sa gas source natin and syempre doon sa Bunsen burner. Kasi hindi tayo magkakaroon ng flame kung hindi siya connected sa gas source natin. So meron tayong tinatawag na gas valve here. I hope you can see it in the screen. So we have here the gas source. This one is the rubber tubing here, and it should be connected here in the gas valve. Okay, now after that, before lighting the Bunsen burner class, you have to close this one. So this is the so-called air hole. So sometimes hindi talaga siya fully closed. Sometimes lang siya half closed or half open lang siya to allow air kasi wala tayong flame class without the oxygen. So remember our lesson for the types of chemical reaction. For the combustion reaction, we need oxygen to produce the flame. So aside from the flame, syempre we have the carbon dioxide and water na mapoproduce. And then after that, after closing the air hole, we will light syempre our match or anything na source natin, lighter or whatever is available in the laboratory. And then after that, i-open na natin class yung ating gas source. So yung gas source natin is actually the same thing na ginagamit natin kapag nagluluto tayo. Yung anong tawag dyan? Yung gasol or yung anyway, gasol is actually a brand name. But the Chilean, those are our sources sa gas pa rin sa laboratory. So ano yan sila? Mga carbon-containing na chemical na in gas form. So pwede siyang butane, pwedeng octane, pwede ding propane. So anything that is available. And then after that, lalagay na natin yung ating flame doon sa mouth ng ating Bunsen burner. So we call this again our barrel. And that's the time magpo-produce na siya ng flame. Pero kapag close or half close yung ating air hole class, the flame that will be produced is color yellow. Okay, it's color yellow and it is not stable. Hindi siya stable, constantly nagmo-move siya. And though it's hot gihapon kasi flame pa rin naman siya, pero it's less hot compared kung if fully open na natin yung ating air hole. So kapag ma-open na siya ha, please remember, kung fully open na yung ating air hole, then mapoproduce na si blue flame, or that is what we call the non-luminous flame. And that blue flame is hotter and it is stable. Okay? Actually, kapag i-open mo yung air hole class, lumiliit yung flame, pero nagiging hotter siya. Okay, question so far about the manipulation of our Bunsen burner? Wala na? Let us continue. Sige, kindly move the slide. Okay, so the first question, what do I have to do to make sure that I am well protected in this laboratory or in this lab? So, syempre, tama yung inyong answer. And it is actually presented in the video na present ng ating reporters. You have to protect yourselves by wearing the personal protective equipment. So what are those PPEs? We call them PPEs in the laboratory. Syempre, we have your lab gown, that is number 1. If you don't have your lab gown until now, please buy a lab gown na hindi nakabotones, yung stick together lang para madali siyang hubad din kung if ever example may sunog na nangyari, madali mo siyang wait lang nakisaba. Yan. Madali mo siyang hubadin class kung whatever is nangyari sa lab or may na-spill na napunta sa lab gown mo. And then you have your gloves, syempre if we are handling chemical substances na, and then you will have your protection sa inyong mata. We have the laboratory goggles also, and then you have the hairnet or the bouffant cap or the head cap na ginagamit natin sa laboratory, especially sa girls na mahahaba yung buhok. So you have to really tie your hair and lagay mo siya sa loob ng hairnet para hindi siya magkakaroon ng contact with chemicals or even the flame. And actually, meron tayong lab shoes na tinatawag, especially if Wednesday, no, kasi Wednesday is a free day, hindi tayo nag-uniform sa school by that. So, yung iba, nag-wear kasi ng sandals, so hindi kasi pwede na magla-laboratory experiment tayo na open yung shoes ninyo. Because, example, merong spillage, baka mapunta sa paa ninyo. So, we are actually wearing the lab shoes. So, yung lab shoes na yan is designed to protect your feet also and at the same time to avoid slipping in the laboratory. Because sometimes merong mga laboratory, especially kung naka-tiles yung laboratory, medyo slippery siya. And next, please take note that you are not allowed to eat inside the laboratory. That's the number 1 talaga na guideline or protocol natin, rule natin sa lab. Walang dapat kumain inside. Even drinking is not allowed inside the laboratory. So ang ginagawa, if you want to drink kasi you are thirsty, you have to get out of the laboratory and drink outside. Okay? And cosmetics is not also allowed in the lab, especially the heavy ones, because it might have reaction with the chemicals that we are handling. And contact lenses also are not allowed in the laboratory since it might have also an interaction with the chemicals, and at the same time, if we are handling flames, baka matunaw pa ang contact lenses ninyo. So, mas mabuting mag-glasses na lang yung mga nag-a-eye glasses. Do you have questions about our guidelines and how to protect ourselves inside the lab? Wala? Additional pala, additional thing, bawal maglaro ng chemical sa laboratory ha, kasi sometimes the students might be curious about chemicals and pinaglalaruan, pinaghahalo-halo inside the container, so baka mahalo pa yung reducing agent and the oxidizing agent and magkakos siya ng explosion inside. Okay? Sige. No questions na, so let us proceed to the next question. Okay, wait lang ha. Before I proceed with the next question, let me just turn this off kay Saba. Wait lang. Okay, let us continue. You may have noticed that there are two bulbs on the Bunsen burner. In the first experiment, you saw that the effect the air intake valve had on the boiling rate of water. What would happen to the boiling rate of water if you are to adjust the gas intake valve instead? Sa air hole class, nasabi ko na kanina, if you adjust the air hole, if i-open mo siya, yung flame nagiging blue or non-luminous, and that is hotter. And actually, that will produce a hotter flame. And if you are boiling something, syempre magkakaroon yun ng increase in the rate of the boiling of water class. Kasi again, nagiging hotter yung water. So ano yung answer niyo ulit dito? If I will adjust the valve backwards, this will lessen the amount intake of air, thus the fire will lessen and the rate of boiling point will also decrease. I guess the question here is for the gas intake valve, kung yun yung i-adjust natin. So syempre kung i-adjust mo siya to almost close the gas intake valve, then naturally the flame will also be lessened or made-decrease din siya kasi kulang na yung valve or yung gas supply, and that will decrease the rate also of the boiling. But if you increase the gas source, pwede siya class na mag-increase din yung temperature ng flame na mapoproduce, and that will also increase the boiling rate. However, kapag masyado nang marami ang gas, tapos hindi naman nag-increase yung oxygen na source or oxygen supply, mag-i-incomplete combustion yun siya and magiging yellow pa rin yung flame nun. And that will actually decrease the boiling rate. Kasi 'di ba less hot yung yellow flame natin. So ganun yung mga possibilities. Either you increase the gas supply, i-manipulate mo i-adjust mo yung gas intake valve, pwedeng maging hot kung magiging hotter siya kung merong more supply of oxygen din. Pero kung hindi, mag-yellow flame yan siya. So how much more kung almost close mo na yung gas intake valve mo. So lesser na yung gas. So automatic, magle-lessen din yung flame and magde-decrease yung boiling point or boiling rate. Next. Mahirap visualize ng supposedly experiment sa lab and then questions na lang yung answeran natin. What would happen to a lit Bunsen burner if all the air in the room was sucked out? Kung walang air class, walang flame. Yun lang ang tandaan ninyo. Always go back to the combustion reaction na meron talagang oxygen involved before you can produce the products, carbon dioxide, water, and flame. So, walang ibang sagot dyan. Pag walang air, there will be no flame. Okay? Next. So, the main gas valve turned off. Wala ding flame class kung turn off mo yung gas valve, yung source natin sa gas. So, remember our reaction for the combustion reaction, aside from the oxygen, you have to have a gas source. So the gas source there is a carbon-containing substance like butane. So 'di ba pag nagluluto tayo, we have butane and wala tayong flame na mapoproduce niyan kung wala tayong gas source. So, parehas lang yan kung nawala yung oxygen. No flame din. Next. The amount of air in the room is doubled. Actually, if the amount of air is doubled, it will result to complete combustion and it will result to the production of a blue flame or a non-luminous flame. Kaya lang kapag marami na masyado yung oxygen class, pati yung inside ng barrel, yung parang body of the Bunsen burner, magkakaroon na ng flame inside. And maririnig mo yun siya kasi merong, kapag very hot na yung flame, kasi you have too much oxygen, maririnig mo na yung flame, may maingay na mapoproduce, may noise na mapoproduce class yung flame na yun. So, yun yung sinasabi na there will be increase in the turbulence of the mixture, and then dili lang siya sa taas sa barrel, naapod siya sa sulod, so magsaba siya ang Bunsen burner. Again, that is for the situation kung ang amount of air in the room is doubled. Okay, next. This is for the PostLab. Okay, supposedly this will be after the experiment. Next. Next pa. Okay, so this will be on the effect of air supply on boiling rate. Syempre pag fully closed, I told you if walang air, wala talagang flame. If 1/4 open, and actually pag 1/4 open, you will have a yellow flame there. And it is not stable. Pag half open, actually, ano yan siya? Pag half open, you will have a yellow flame. You will have a yellow flame na medyo tall siya. So, mahaba siya. And it's not stable. Pero ang tip niya yan, class, is color blue. So, ganun ang mangyayari kung 1/2 open siya. Pero kung 3/4 open, most of the body sa flame naman is color blue. Pero the tip niya is yellow. Kung open na siya fully, syempre you will have the blue flame. Later, I will show you a video sa pag-manipulate ng Bunsen burner na kasama yung open and close ng air valve or yung air hole natin. Tingnan natin later kung ano ba talagang color ng flame yung ma-produce niya. Okay? Because I might have baliktad, the blue yung body niya pero yellow yung kanyang tip. Later, i-show ko. Later na lang ito sa video. Next. Then physical and chemical change, though hindi natin to na talaga nagawa sa laboratory, but I think you can picture out what will happen if you place a chocolate in boiling water. So syempre magme-melt yan. But after that, there will be a tendency na kung i-cool na natin siya, masusolidify ulit yung ating chocolate. Now, since this is just a change in the physical state, then this is a physical change. Okay? So si chocolate class na na-melt and na-solidify, chocolate pa rin naman. Ganun pa rin yung composition niya. So physical change and syempre reversible. If you want to melt again the solidified chocolate, then you just place it in a boiling water again. But for the egg white, syempre kung ilalagay mo siya sa boiling water, maluluto siya. And from the liquid state niya, magiging solid siya. After cooling, it will remain solid. Hindi mo na siya mababalik sa kanyang original state. Therefore, this is correct. This is a chemical change. Because again, this will be irreversible. So yun yung kaibahan nila ni chocolate kapag isa-subject natin sila sa boiling. Okay? I think this is the last one, right? Tama ba? Next daw. Okay, yeah, that's the last one. So let me show you the video now sa pag-operate natin sa Bunsen burner kung i-close o i-open natin yung ating air hole.